Today, we have a glow of joy. I mean, a bright light that emanates from this fun, beautiful, bubbly woman. Every time I see her, she is so loving, so giving. She is so talented. I mean, she's an actor. She's a singer. She's a teacher. She has credits like Superstore, my voice. Can we start over?
Oh, I like that. I like Superstar.
Okay, hey.
Hold that vision.
Okay, Superstar. She is a superstar. Superstore, Life in Pieces, The Middle, Joe Dirt, The Neighbors. I could keep on going. Tracy Weisert. Tracy Weisert.
I've never gotten such an introduction before.
You didn't? Oh my God.
I love that.
And I love how like the mouth goes, Superstar. She says, don't keep that in.
That was subliminal. I like that. Keep it going. Keep that vision.
I do have vision, and it's more than vision because you are a superstar. Can you tell I've been drinking my tea today?
A little toddy, a little early, dear.
My love potion.
Oh, okay.
Number 9.
You call it whatever you want.
No, it's actually ginger. I boil ginger.
Right.
And just in water, pour it in there and add a little honey. Mm-hmm. Enough of my drinking. When did you decide to become an actor? When did you know?
Oh, I was 4 years old in Oak Park, Illinois, and I was an angel in the Christmas pageant at Grace Episcopal Church.
Oh.
And you know how we actors are supposed to be specific. Well, the next year, I was upgraded to a shepherd with my own little lamb. And I thought I was Miss Thang. And literally, I was bitten, you know, at 4 years old. Once you get on stage and you have that feeling and that immediate reaction from an audience, it feeds your soul. So, and that's what I did.
I love that. I love those stories. And it's so interesting because it reminds all of us of those first time stories, you know, or second time stories. I remember in first grade, I directed, produced, and starred in Hansel and Gretel.
Wow.
I wanted to play the witch, but I played Hansel. And then third grade, I melted on stage as Frosty the Snowman.
Ooh, good for you.
But I love that. I love that. Now, you also played Lucy in A Good Man, Charlie Brown.
I actually played Lucy twice in Albuquerque, New Mexico in community theater. But the cool part of this story, and I, well, I mean, it's all cool, but anyway, I am so pleased and so incredibly proud. I'll sound like a zealot mom here for a minute. Jessie Tyler Ferguson is also from Albuquerque. And as my grandma said, I was the only kid born up north. She called me her only Yankee because I was born in Chicago, but all my family's from New Mexico. Yeah. And it's so funny because when Jessie, my husband and I have known Jessie since he was 16. Oh. And I did ask Jessie if I had permission to tell this story online and show the picture. But when Jessie was 17, he and I were Linus and Lucy in the musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, in a wonderfully solid cast. And it was just a magical production. But the next year at 18, Jessie moved to New York, and he had 2 preview performances on Broadway before his 23rd birthday in George C. Wolfe's revival of On the Town. And I still am so excited for him because, you know, now 5 Emmy nominations and 11 years of success on Modern Family and 3 Broadway shows. And I'm just really proud of him. So anyway.
Great. I love it. I'm so in connection about being so proud and happy for the people that we grew up with, that we that
Because,
we've
you know,
worked
well,
with.
also being, you know, the whole thing of being kind to everyone as a human.
Yeah.
And we never know who's going to hit, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And I just think if we keep, you know, if we just stay, if we are of service to everyone, be kind to everybody, and, you know, karma's a circle. You know, I'll be the one who might have a question that needs to be answered next. So I always try to help other actors and just, you know, be of service to your fellow man, because, you know, especially this day and age, you know, a
Uh,
little bit of kindness goes a real long way.
it's again, it's about.
Oh, it is. It's all about love.
Mhm.
So, but that's my Jesse story.
I love that. And talk about kindness. I mean, you came to Performing Arts Studio West, I think it was last year.
Oh, yeah,
You,
I found the picture. Yeah.
you spent a day with us for the advanced acting in the breath workshop. And everybody loves you there. I mean, they said,
Oh,
when's she
thank you.
coming back? Of course, now we
Oh,
can't come back until
right.
we get out, but
Well, you had some very, very talented students. It was great actors, and it was a real inspiring day.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
thanked you for that. That was nice.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you. Um, oh, and you mentioned Albuquerque and that you grew up there, and part of my family's there too. And whenever you say Albuquerque, I
I
think of
forgot.
point me in the direction of Albuquerque.
I forgot that. I mean, I remember now you telling me that, but I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a great town, and there you go. All these superstars are coming out of there.
And something odd that I forgot to tell you is I actually went to College of Santa Fe. And when I was 18 years old, I was in a play with Greer Garson.
Oh my God.
And she, you know, I don't know how many, she was nominated for, I think, 7 Academy Awards, and had at least won one for Mrs. Miniver. And don't anybody correct me, because I know that part of it's true. But I mean, here I was, 18 years old, delivering lines to an Academy Award winner. And I mean, it was just, I mean, I've been afforded the most amazing, amazing experiences without even sort of even knowing it. I mean, that sounds so crazy, but
Right. It just
anyway.
happened for you. You didn't have to push. It just you followed the yellow brick road in a way.
Well, and my acting teacher was Kim Stanley. And Stanley, who, oh, I forgot to tell, yeah, that she had twice been nominated for Academy Awards, and she created the role of Cherry and Bus Stop for William Inge on Broadway and in Picnic. And again, you know, you're given these gifts, and at 18, you know, I wish I could have those experiences with a little bit of life under my belt to understand what, you know, the gifts I was given. Anyway, it was really, really
And
good.
now they feed you. Now those
Oh,
experiences give you
yeah.
the life that, you
Well,
know.
and I teach at the Young Actors Theater Camp for 16 years. I
Yeah.
goal setting, vision, and empowerment. And I always tell young people, or any people, but young people, you know, attitude is the only thing we have control over, and we can either be a victor or victim.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of just just keeping your eye on the prize and don't listen to naysayers, because being an actor, you know, the old when will you get a real job, you know, that whole thing, you know, if you just keep your eye on your prize and just don't give up. I mean, obviously I never wanted to be the oldest overnight success in Hollywood after 35 years in this industry, but it's just I have no plan B. This is it. This is what I know how to do. You know, so
Right.
I say to the young people, you know, just attitude, and just people, especially in our industry, um, people don't get why we just have to do this, you
Yeah.
know, and especially in a lot of families, it's, you know, people are trying their best through their own filters, just like I don't understand why a plumber has to be a plumber, you know, and different things. We just have to realize that people are doing the best they can with their filters.
Mhm.
And I always say, when I teach the campers, people hire confidence. you know, somebody's not going to hire a roofer that they think is going to roll off the roof. And one of my clients that I teach, she said, well, she said, I'm not, but I'm not confident. I said, you're an actor, act confident. And so anyway,
That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just very blessed.
Oh, and that the camp, what, John and Sean?
Yes.
Oh, they're coming on soon.
When?
I probably in about a month. We're gonna have a John and Sean interview.
Oh, well, now we met on the right when they moved here from San Francisco, or the Bay Area. I'm sorry, not exactly San Francisco. And it's so funny because we met on the set of David E. Kelly's show, Boston Public.
Oh my God.
I was one of the regular background teachers, and they were students. And I didn't even know you knew them. Anyway, I was sitting doing postcards. We do, for those who don't know, we do a lot back in the day. We would do a lot of self-marketing. Even when we have agents, we have to do a lot of self-marketing because nobody can sell Tracy or David better than Tracy or David. So I was doing postcards to casting directors, and Sean, what you doing? So in holding there, I was sitting there in the holding area, and he literally, and he'll tell you this, he literally bled my braid dry for about 8 hours, but it started a fabulous, fabulous friendship. Yeah. And it just, and I'm so proud of them because they've done so well. And unfortunately, because of COVID, camp isn't doing so well. They were up to, I think, 4 sessions of camp last summer with 100 kids per session.
Yeah.
And their camp changed my life. Literally, it's the most safe, wonderful, nurturing environment where people can just be themselves.
Yeah.
And again, people, you know, you find your tribe. You're all there. And maybe somebody who was from a small town and was the big fish in their small pond, they come to camp and they meet all like-minded people. And I love, 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 love teaching at camp. And we have had so many success stories from camp, but I'll let them tell you that. But
well, I have to, you know, I've known of their camp throughout the years, and I've always wanted to go. And when we open after the quarantine, I want to visit the camp one day. I mean, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, what I've talked about, just a brilliant place.
It is. It's magical, and you can't. You have to just experience it. It just was wonderful. So
yeah,
it's sad that we couldn't do it, but I want everybody to be safe.
Oh, you got to be safe. This is the time to be safe, so we can get out there and party later. Party. So what about I'm going to throw out a name.
Like charades or something?
Yes, like charades. It's like, okay. All right. And whatever first comes to your mind.
Okay.
Lawrence Kasdan.
Oh. Now, some people watching this may not know who he is. He is my very first film was a movie called Silverado in Santa Fe, New Mexico, that he wrote. He and his brother Mark co-wrote, and he directed it. But Larry Kasdan at the time, this was 1984, 85, was like hot. He had written what is it? I get the Star Wars movies mixed up. Empire Strikes Back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then his directorial and writing debut, I believe, was Body Heat, and then The Big Chill. Oh
my God. So, you just listed all those, and I'm going, those are like in my top, movies of all time.
Well, here it was in Santa Fe. It was my very first feature. And I am literally Silverado, working for Columbia Pictures. I'm working with all A-listers: Kevin Kline, Kevin Costner, Danny Glover, John Cleese walked silly for me, the minister of silly walks. Yeah. Anyway, Linda Hunt had just won her Academy Award for Year of Living Dangerously. Anyway, it was just wonderful. I was their local PA, production assistant in Santa Fe, for 5 of the most glorious months of my life.
Oh my God. Now, how did you get the job?
Oh, now this is pretty amazing. I had just, my husband and I had divorced, and I took the bus from Farmington, New Mexico, 180 miles north of Albuquerque, where we had lived at the time. Mind you, I had 2 babies in diapers at the time as well. But down to Albuquerque, and then borrowed my cousin's car and drove the 60 miles to Santa Fe, because I thought, since I was divorcing, where would the kids and I like to live? And since I grew up in Santa Fe, partially, I thought I'd like to go back to Santa Fe. So I called the New Mexico Film Commission, and I asked them if they had any openings, because I knew I wanted to do this in something to do with show business. Mind you, I was so blissfully naive. I had no idea what I was really doing. So I went to the New Mexico Film Commission. They were kind of, but they said, well, Columbia's in town doing a new movie, but they're probably already staffed, because they've been in town for a couple of weeks. So I literally, and it was God-given, as I know it, I literally went to the downtown Hilton Hotel where the production office was. I walked into the production office, and I said, do you have any openings? Hi, I'm Tracy Weisert. Do you have any openings? And they literally, my friend Mary Kay, who now is my friend, she was the production coordinator. She had just hung up the phone with the employment office, telling them that their PA was not working out. And I literally walked in. And I truly believe it was divine, because the production secretary, my friend Susan, and I worked at the same NBC affiliate up in Farmington, New Mexico, 180 miles north. And we had friends in common. We chit-chatted. And so that was that. I went back. They said they'd let me know. This was on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Went back all the way 180 miles north to Farmington, and said, they said they'd call me. When my phone rang, my landline phone, the old-fashioned landline phone, right. I answered the phone, and Mary Kay said, and I'll never forget that, how would you like to join a crazy movie crew in Santa Fe? And literally, truly, that one thing changed my life and my family's life and everybody's in my circle's life forever for me. And my big job, besides being the production assistant, my 2 big jobs were, I typed all the Screen Actors Guild contracts, typed on a big Selectric, those big blue Selectric IBM typewriters, it was like the size of the desk. Anyway, this electric typewriter. And the old SAG contract used to be, I would say, 8 pages worth of carbon. It was, legal size, legal size, and it was carbon paper. So for younger people watching this, the key would strike and, go through the carbon and make copies and copies and copies to the backside. Anyway, and I typed all the Screen Actors Guild under $50,000. And I remember at my desk thinking, if I slip a digit, somebody can buy a house. And back in the day, in New Mexico, you could really buy a house, but even in California 35 years ago, anyway, it was possible. And the other thing I did, I remember my 3 big things that I did is I don't remember what day, I would get twice a week, they would give me $200, and I would go to the local grocery store and put all the craft service, buy all the craft service stuff. And again, $35 years ago, $200, and the people at the local Albertsons or whatever probably thought, what does she do? Because, I'd have cookies and sodas.
There was no Costco at that time, right?
No, there wasn't. And so that was one of my jobs. And then the other job was Xeroxing the production report to send back to, it used to be the Burbank Studios was Warner Brothers and Columbia combined. And I'd have to do, 11 copies of the production report, which, on paper, what happened the day before on paper, for them to see in the meeting the next day in Burbank. And it would be FedEx, and I thought, if I, you know, miss one, you know, there's going to be some exec who's PO'd. And so my little, I mean, any little job that people think is mundane, it's not. If you're a part of a machinery, you're a cog, whatever, you're just as important as the bigwig, you know, because those little things, you know, as my husband says, it's this little things that make up things, you know, to be successful. But anyway, enough about Silverado. I just went on a
I
total.
know, I love it because it really shows, you know, there are links in the chains, and we're all doing our work to create.
There's no small jobs and
no
the whole
small
thing.
Jobs, no smaller actors.
The commitment, you know, if I tell my garbage man, my garbage will be there on a Monday, by golly, it'll be there. And just a sense of commitment. That's another thing I teach about class. I mean, in camp, you know, your word is your word. If you, like my kids, I always used to say, you lose your integrity once, you don't get it back, you know, or it takes a very long time to repair that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a tear.
No, I loved it.
I hadn't thought about shopping for craft services.
No, I love that you said that because it brought back memories, because for 4 years I did craft service for Jon Favreau's show.
I didn't know that.
Dinner for Five. It was so great. It was, again, I love how we get into the families, you know, these little families throughout our life. And we still have some of those people in our lives. We keep hold of them.
Oh, I'm still friends with Mary Kay and Susan. They now live back and they are in Santa Fe. I saw them Brian and I saw them just last year, or maybe it's been a year and a half. And then I have worked with or seen, I worked with Kevin Costner again in Wyatt Earp, which was my next feature, which was Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah.
And then I've seen Danny Glover since. Jeff Goldblum.
Yes. Yes.
Jeff Goldblum and I, this talk about big full circle. He was in what's it called, in Silverado, and I don't know how long his character of Slick worked on the film, at least a month, maybe longer, but he and Kevin Kline were roommates in Santa Fe. But anyway, it's funny because 29 and a half years later, so this is going fast forward, I did a GE commercial. Gosh, how many years has it been now? Maybe 5 years ago.
Right.
With these crazy, wonderful directors named Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric are like they were like the Funny or Die guys before Funny or Die. They had such a college following, but they had a show on Adult Swim called Tim and Eric Awesome Show. And I'd worked with them 4 times on that show. And they would just have me do like a little teeny snippet. And whenever they would do this one sketch, they would always bring me back as like the bookkeeper who puts up with their antics because she has good insurance. You know, all I would do is I would always just do it like a real dry look or something to them. So I auditioned for this GE film, or this GE spot. I didn't know it was Tim and Eric who were co-directing it. So I ended up getting booked on it, and I was at my fitting the day before we shot, and there was a tall, lanky young man, and I said, "Oh, hi, I'm Tracy, and what are you doing on the shoot?" He goes, "I'm Jeff Goldblum stand-in." And I said, "Jeff's in this?" And it ended up being this crazy, it's very tongue-in-cheeky because you don't know if it's commercial or what. It's like an infomercial for their new light bulb that lasted 14 years. And literally, all I am is Jeff Straight Man in this commercial. But so I went to set that next day, and thank goodness I had old-fashioned hard copy pictures, you know, instead of like now everything's on our phones. And I took this picture of Jeff and I dancing in the Silverado production office from 29 and a half years prior to set with me. And Tim and Eric got such a hoot out of it. And I'm sure like maybe some of the GE people or the BBDO, I think was the ad agency, maybe their account executives weren't even 29 and a half. But so I took this picture, and Jeff was rapping right when I was coming on, and, you know, co-starring, you know, just polite, introduction and stuff. And I said, actually, Jeff, I worked with you on Silverado. And he looked at this picture and he knew exactly who I was at the time. And so we have this great, great picture of on set of him. He's oddly enough, in a white bathrobe because he had just gotten out of a hot tub. And I'm about to shoot. And we have the best picture of us cheek to cheek holding up our photo together from 29 and a half years prior. So I'll have to find that photo for you to show, because it is a hoot. And then interestingly, I think in the next year or within that year, I saw he and his wife his new wife at the SAG Awards, and he just told me how funny I was, and he was just so kind. He is probably one of the neatest people I've ever met, and so intense. I mean, he has this, that charisma.
Yeah.
He could ask you for his mail and you would think you're the only person in the world. He just is just something. And he introduced me to his new wife, and he's just lovely.
And I've got to bring it back to you in that sense, is that you attract that. You have this loving, kind, I don't know if I want to say motherly.
Oh yeah. I'm a mom of like every actor in town.
You're just like, so, I see you and I go, hi, I feel safe. I feel loved. And that's what people, you know what I'm saying? I usually cry on these shows too. So.
No, seriously. Well, my vision for my life is I am one of God's light bearers.
Yeah.
I spread mine. Wait, let me think. I spread my light and my light, love, and laughter in my life, my friends, families, audiences, and strangers' lives with ease and grace. That's always been my vision. So the fact that you would say that and that you feel safe, I hope my two children feel that same way, and my 3 grandkids.
Well, I mean, you have a wonderful family. You have 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And you
big-ass women, yeah.
Well, now, how long were you in New Mexico before you moved did you move with your family to LA?
I came out here, oh gosh, you're going back. I came out here for pilot season. Again, another gift from heaven. I worked at a car dealership. I was their receptionist in Albuquerque. At Zangara Dodge. Whenever I say that, I almost sing their jingle too.
I've been there.
Anyway, really? Anyway, so I was their receptionist, and honest to God, David, I no more knew that day that I was going to quit my job and move 800 miles to Los Angeles. I can't explain it. I just felt pulled, pushed. I don't know. And I have the singularly most wonderful husband in Brian, and our daughters. They just have always supported, every community theater, everything I've ever done. But I at the time did not even have a credit card, and my like a Visa or anything to make a trip like that. Right. Thinking, do you know the guys at the car dealership? They went around and they got they collected $300 cash for me for traveling money.
Oh
God, how did all these things that I haven't thought about in ages, and literally with the blessings of my children and my husband, I moved temporarily. I mean, I went for pilot season in February from New Mexico to LA, and I ran, and a friend of ours that I worked with at an ad agency, his wife was an English nanny, and she had a friend in LA in Studio City area in Valley Village that actually was an English nanny, and that they rented me a room. And so it was just, a friend of a friend who referred, Yeah. And I literally came here for pilot season. And then we've lived here now, my family and everybody. Well, the kids were here for a while, but they went off to do their own thing for 21 years.
Wow.
And my dream is to go back to New Mexico full circle with all the filming there.
Right.
And to work, because, just.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
And they're building, didn't they just build a new studio there? And
well, they've had studios, and Netflix just bought an existing studio, and NBC Universal. So,
and they filmed.
In fact, New Mexico was one of the first states that had a film office in the 60s. It was one of the first states that got that it was a clean industry that came to town. Yeah. And they, before Atlanta and all these other cities, we were the ones who gave the gross receipts tax, this tax incentives and such, way before anybody else did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I love that full circle thing too. And I mean, and you have grandchildren, and I love it.
And during COVID, it's been hard because I haven't seen any of them since Christmas, but I don't want to go down that road.
No,
or I'll cry for different reasons.
Right. And I mean, you have been in shows like Modern Family, Monk, and Spider-Man 2.
Oh, gosh. Now, wait. Now, I want to I don't want to blow my whistle in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I was one of the regular background artists on Modern Family for 11 years, for their first 3 seasons. But It had nothing to do with Jesse. It had to do with, through a background company here in LA. And then on Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi picked a bunch of us to be the staff where Tobey Maguire's character, Peter Parker, works in not the Daily Planet. What's...
yeah, isn't it? Isn't the yeah?
Is it the Daily Planet?
I think it is.
No,
oh my God, I'm going blank.
Oh, that's
quarantine brain.
Yeah. That's Superman. Anyway, whatever that.
Oh, you're right.
Right. Sorry, superhero people. I'm not translation. But anyway, and it was so neat because literally, and mind you, it was picture-picked background. I didn't have lines or anything, but I like that credit just because Sam Raimi. I watched him work. I probably for a week, probably about 12 feet away from him. And it was just, I always say to anyone, no matter what the job is on a set, hopefully when things get back to normal, if you can ever get on a set in any capacity, it's the best learning experience because just keep your eyes and ears open and you find very quickly what to do or what not to do. Very quickly.
Yeah.
And not to be the squeaky wheel, just be a sponge and take it all in. And being a PA in my first job on Silverado 35 years ago, that has helped me so much in front of the camera as an actor, just understanding and appreciating everybody's jobs on sets. Because like I was saying about, typing the SAG contracts and Xeroxing the production reports. Everybody's job is just as important as whoever's number one on the call sheet.
Yeah, and everybody, they're doing their job. They enjoy doing their job. Some people love behind the camera, some in front, and some in the middle.
But that education of a production background has served me so well. Just in front of the camera, just appreciating everyone on a set. I
have to just ask one question. When you got to as the background on Modern Family, were you surprised to see Jesse there, or did you know beforehand?
Oh no, the night before, I think I emailed him, or probably emailed, not text back then. I said, I think I'm working on your family show tomorrow. And actually, their first AD, God love Lisa, she was so wonderful. She actually took a picture of Jesse and I in the stairwell on their, it wasn't on their pilot because they did that in February. This was more into their run. Right. I don't remember which episode of theirs, but it was totally through a background company. My friend Carla, who also booked me on, again, picture picked on, again, background. Dan Fogelman, who has this huge hit with This Is Us, I was on 2 shows ago of his playing an alien.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that show.